11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 Pacific. Or wait, is that 4 Pacific? 4 Pacific. For about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We're simulcasting it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live comments that come in from everybody watching live. Every so often we take the audio and we post it up on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody that might be listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback on whatever platform it is, lets us know where you are, and helps the show get recommended to more listeners. And that's always our goal, so we do appreciate it. There's 4 hosts. We're all here today. Got Bob coming in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here today.
And we got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, glad I can make it.
And then we got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Good, thanks for being here. And I'm down here in Arizona. So let's see, we are jumping into episode number 334. It's a Wednesday or Thursday. So we're going to be talking about CCW. We'll be talking about the CCW sash, the crossing guard sash looking thing. Then
boo, boo, boo.
Uh-oh. Dan was already chomping at the bit for that one. Then we got gun stuff, the worst gun gauge you ever wasted money on. And then for training, we got Mike Pannone. So, of course, all of our normal things that we do throughout the week, gun shop of the day, movie, gun of the day, etc. But before we dig into everything, we usually take a break at the beginning, see if there's anything happened overnight or anything worth talking about.
I got nothing.
Wasn't there a shooting this morning?
I think there was one the other day, but I'm already seeing way too much news on it. So this is going to be their next big anti-gun push. So I don't even want to bring it up. You guys probably already know what it is. So that's about as much time as I want to give to it.
Yep. Good point,
without further details or information, we might as well just let it be for the moment.
So we did the tour yesterday. Appreciate everybody's patience when we do the remote shows like that. It can be kind of weird. I guess everybody said the audio was okay yesterday. It felt weird because the AC was blowing right at us in the car there, really loud. So it felt like it was a weird show, but I think it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun down there. And actually, after the show, we met up with Enrique Sonora and ended up chatting for hours at the Triple T there, Bob. And that same waitress came up, knew exactly what I wanted. It's always nice to have I have a really weird order that I get. It's like, I like this, but I want this and this and this and this different. And they do it. And, it's kind of cool to have that waitress who knows when we come up and go, oh, you want the usual? And then I got exactly what I wanted. It's pretty fun.
Cute.
Now, is that Mexican food or is that American Mexican food?
So you take a giant oval plate from a truck stop and you get it piping hot, right? And then you throw 3 cheese enchiladas on there. And then you take 3 fried eggs and then you put the enchilada sauce in. 3 fried eggs and throw them on top of that. And then you smother that with cheese. And then they put a bunch of beans on there and then either rice or hash browns. But I usually tell them I want half rice and half hash browns. And then they usually put some kind of slop on there. I get bacon on the side so it stays crispy, and they do pretty good bacon there. And then they normally give you like half of a quarter of a tortilla, and I ask for a whole bunch of extra ones. And she brings me like a whole bag of them. And then sour cream I bring home to the dog, and all that for like the price of like regular pancakes and eggs at a regular place. So definitely my favorite.
You give your dog sour cream?
Yeah, because I don't want to eat it. He likes it. He gets mad if I come home from there. He knows I come home from there because I can't eat it all. I always have to bring half of it home. So he knows if I'm bringing that home, he's getting some sour cream.
I'm surprised he doesn't get, I'll just say sick.
Well, I mean, I go there maybe once a month unless Bob's here. Then I go there daily.
Yeah. Hey, my dog's the same way, man. If I go to a restaurant and come out to the car without some leftovers for him, he's PO'd. He'll whine at me the rest of the drive.
Yeah, you get the stink eye. They know it. They don't like it.
Oh, yeah.
They can smell it on, even if you don't have leftovers. Like, they can smell that you were at a place that had food.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm sure they can
know.
even. Well, my dog's 90 pounds, and we're talking like the side of sour cream into a little cup. So what is that, like an ounce, maybe a 4-ounce cup? So he does it right. He basically slaps it all around anyway. You know, a dog licking a sour cream thing, it gets all over. He just enjoys having a little something. So I don't really bring him stuff normally. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we went, and that was
Poor
pretty
dog.
fun. We're going to be working on a couple of projects together, it looks like. So stay tuned for more awesomeness all around. Well, otherwise, how was
Very
match
cool.
yesterday? I didn't get to see that at all.
I have no idea.
I missed it completely. I was driving.
Ditto.
All right. Well, so that's what happened tonight. Why don't we dig into the show? So it's 3:34. Today we're talking about CCW, gun stuff, and training. So we kind of rearranged, I guess, the schedules so that the days are kind of more consistent, I guess. So today is sort of our pack-in day, I guess. So we're starting with CCW, and today it's CCW sashes. Is everybody familiar with these? It basically looks like a little, I don't know what the hell to call it. It almost
It's like a crossing guard sash.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying on your belt, it looks like a little thing. It's smaller than anything, so it's not really like a cell phone. It doesn't really look like a hip pouch or whatever those things are, fanny packs or anything. It's small, but anyway, you have this thing on your belt. I think the concept is that something happens, and then you're gonna pull this like crossing guard strap thing off from your belt, go up around your shoulder, and then I guess connect it back to the part where it came from, so that you've now got this. I think they're like reflective, and they say CCW or something on them to identify yourself, I guess.
And in all that time, you could have actually been getting ready.
Well, getting ready for what? I mean, do you think that someone's going to wear that and then not do any defensive move at all until they put that
Well,
on?
it's just that the time for dress up is in somebody's fantasy.
Does
I mean,
anybody
if
else
somebody's
think that-
life is being threatened, why in God's green earth would you waste 3-4 seconds doing something else that has nothing to do with keeping somebody else alive? I.e., you.
Well, what
are
if you shoot the bad guy and you put that on before the
I think
police
it's
show up?
engaged before the incident or between the incident and the police arrival?
Exactly. That's what you take care of business, and then you put that on so that when the cops roll up, they don't think you're the bad guy. That's the theory behind it. I personally think they're dumb. I don't know why other people would want it, but whatever. Knock yourself out, I guess.
I just see it as somebody trying to play dress up.
Well,
I wouldn't go that far. I think it's a perceived. The perceived problem is police responding to a scene and not knowing who's who, and they see a person on the ground. I'm going to steal this from Asada Yub, so credit where it's due. There's the bad guy's on the ground playing a convincing victim, and you're standing there with a weapon or whatever, playing a convincing perpetrator. So you have to end up, you have to be able to communicate rather quickly that you are the victim of whatever type of attack happened, and they were the bad guys because they started it.
Well, once the bad guy's down, why are you still holding out a weapon? If he is no longer a threat.
Okay, quit acting like it's black and white, Dano. I mean, come on. I thought that you were open-minded to this stuff. So if you think we all know no lethal force incident is ever going to be the same as any others. So we can't anticipate that there's some amount of time that is always allotted for anything in an LFI. So I think that I'm sure these things. Yeah, you are. I mean, really, it's black and white.
Once you begin to shoot, you don't stop shooting until the threat has been mitigated.
Okay, so if you can calm down for a second, I know you're adamantly against these sashes. They were invented for fire department personnel, undercover people, law enforcement that might be off duty, so that they can identify themselves to their other responding units, paramedics perhaps, I don't know. They make them in about 1 million different, all the EMS roles, they make the names in. I suspect the company then said, well, we've got the way to make these things. Why don't we put one with CCW on it? Unless I'm mistaken, they didn't come out as CCW like products and then decide to do them for military or for law enforcement and everything. So I think what we're looking at is an offshoot of a company that's making a product for emergency personnel, and they've just added this to it the same way they might to an emergency services person who's working around with a ham radio, and he decides to put out a sash during a time of emergency to let people know he's one of the people tasked with radio operations or something during an emergency. So in that respects, I think that's the origin of it. And again, I suspect it's designed, the concept would be, imagine a situation where a lethal force incident happens. Okay, let's not get into the particulars of the incident. There's going to be some amount of time before the police arrive, and I think that's when you would engage it. They don't expect you to stop, in the middle of a gunfight and put on that thing.
So, just in general, broad terms, how would this tool, device, however you want to frame it, be used? You're defending your life.
Go ahead.
And then after you're done defending your life, you unfurl this sash.
I would say yes, that's one way to use it. The other thing,
I mean, is it used? Is that how they're advertising that it be used? I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's how we described it. That's how I would infer it to be used.
Yeah, there was another thing. I think I saw it in the comments here. I forget who said it, but something about in case there's some type of active shooter type thing that might still be ongoing. Let's say you find a chance to get some cover or whatever, or something's happening further away from you, you could still put that on so that when the police show up, you're not mistaken. So that's another thing. Like, not every gunfight's going to be, right then and there. Like, you will have a couple seconds every once in a while. And if that's the case, then you toss it on, I guess. That's the thing. Like I said, I wouldn't ever have one, but I'm just trying to defend it because you're so anti.
Yeah. So what about when you're maintaining the situation? Either something happened or you were a witness. You were either involved or you were a witness. And what are the other witnesses going to remember? A guy who put on a reflective thing and asked if people were okay, and started doing the things that you do, and then when they are all given their reports, they're like, well, the one guy with the sash. I mean, unless you wear some kind of unique hat or a monocle or something, I think there might be something to it to be able to identify yourself. Like Smeggy said, if you're anticipating, the very low chance that you'd ever might be around an incident like that, I doubt very many perpetrators put on a big reflective thing. So that might just be a way to indicate to a glancing, a glance that you're probably not a threat. I don't think it's supposed to be some sort of protection from evil or like an invisibility cloak or anything. I think it's just supposed to be a tool in the toolbox. If you had that on your belt and it wasn't appropriate, could you not decide to not engage it? Does that make sense? Could you decide?
I'm sure you can always decide not to engage it, but I will, in fact, Asad Ayub was asked about this question as well as CCW badges during my class. And he said he was vehemently against it because it can be used against you in a court of law as to the mindset that you had as to, do you go around, do you think you're law enforcement? Things that can be brought up a court against you, although it may not be true, but to try to steer the jury in a way that's not correct. So that can work. I understand what you're saying. It can be worked to help identify you at the scene, and it can be used later, possibly by the district attorney to hurt you.
Possibly, exactly. And if you have a competent attorney on your side, or if you're confident in your abilities and your decisions, and you can enunciate why you chose to do it, Asad Ayub, I understand and I agree that he does not like the sashes, but I think that he would also rationally realize that if someone had the thing and was able to articulate the reason for it and the reason they implemented it, that, you know, a competent attorney could not just, you know, you wouldn't necessarily go to jail because you put that on. I'm saying, I mean, yeah, if you were, I don't know, not active in the court, I guess, in the you know, goings on, I guess you'd never be able to, and they could just say whatever they wanted about you, but usually you get your say. And if you can articulate why you decided to wear it, and that's normal.
I guess I'm just viewing myself, you know, at the scene afterwards as not being able to articulate myself particularly well, primarily because I have so much adrenaline being pumped through my system that that I would have a difficult time trying to explain why I was wearing this thing.
Well,
And
you don't have to explain on the scene why you're wearing the thing.
well, no, I understand I don't have to explain the scene, and I'm saying, and that's why I wouldn't wear it, because I could not explain at the scene, because anxiety, all sorts of things are going through your head, chemicals in your bloodstream.
So let's say, and I'm not a favor of these things, but like Maggie said, Dano is like rabidly against them, so it just brings out the devil's advocate in us. But let's say that something happens, a lethal force incident. Nobody that's listening to us has any, I mean, maybe there's a couple of people, but I'm guessing everybody that's listening to us, it's going to alter their lives completely from that moment on. This moment that you realize that's happening, and then once it's happened, I suspect you're going to go into multiple types of shock. So let's say that you rise to your level of training and you defend yourself, and you're able to reholster. But now, and you've satisfied yourself that the situation is over for whatever reason. The particular circumstances are that this situation is over, and you decide to step away and either lean against a wall or sit down, even because you're out of breath and you're afraid you might fall down and make yourself a victim with an armed victim, and you don't want to let your gun get taken away from you because you're unconscious, so you decide to sit down or rest your head or something. So in that situation, like Smeggy said, when the police come, what are they seeing? So if that's a situation where if you've decided to do something like that and you've defended your life and now you're reholstered and you're about to pass out and you can muster the energy to put that thing on, have you just identified yourself as a player there? You know, I guess it's possible that they brought it up on the YouTube side. It's possible that a bad guy could wear one. I'm not sure how there's a win in that scenario, but anyway, I guess that's what I'm saying is, you know, if you were to step away and sit down, how many ways could witnesses interpret that as you were fleeing the scene? Where if you did something to identify yourself and then sit down, and you could articulate later that what went through your mind was, I'm getting lightheaded, I need to sit down, I don't want to be adding a live weapon to this situation, I need to identify myself somehow. Luckily I had my sash on and I put it on. I mean, I'm not trying to justify the sash, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
I agree.
They're staying in the YouTube side. William said, and Chesney, I think, said, you cannot compare a badge and a sash. They infer two different ideas, and I agree a lot on that. A badge can look like you're trying to impersonate, potentially, especially if you didn't defend yourself, and it's the bad guy who gets to sit the court situation. Then it'd be a little tougher to figure out why you were wearing a thing that looks like you're trying to be an undercover cop or something. Where with a sash, what are you trying to do? Look like a crossing guard or look like emergency services or something? I mean, it's typically a sash. I don't know of any country, at least no state. I don't know about other countries. Here, no police are identified by a thingy around their shoulders. Literally, crossing guards are the only people that wear something like that, right? Or whatever you call police.
And I agree with that they are two very different things, and one does imply something that the other does not. Beauty
contestant winners, they wear them.
Well, there you go. But theirs are going to be white and say Miss on it. And this, well, I guess if you put Miss on it, maybe in subconsciously everybody would just miss.
Well, what about if you just had one that said gun-free zone? As soon as you pulled that up, you'd be safe, right?
I think Bob just figured it out. Then they'd have to go home right then. You'd alleviate the whole situation.
Well, it probably worked in Canada because, I'm sure even our murderers are polite. Oh, sorry. Didn't see you.
So I'm not going to advocate for him either. I don't think it's a great idea. I think there's plenty of other ways to be competent in life and not have to wear that extra crap on your belt. If you're tasked with it as an emergency service person or something where you have an extra responsibility because you're sworn or because you've got a level of training that might indicate you want to proceed, then I could see it for that. Like if you're off duty or undercover or something, I can definitely see it for those uses. But typically in those uses, you're probably not acting alone. You're doing that because it's like department policy or something, or the police are going to be accustomed to looking for that on their emergency services people or their off-duty people. That's my assumption. I really don't know, but I'm guessing that if a municipality said, "Hey, if you're off duty and you want to wear this," then they're going to all be aware of it, right? But I don't know if any of them actually.
I guess what I'd definitely be interested in, and we don't have to necessarily get anybody's name involved, but if you happen to have one of these things and have thought something out, to email us your thoughts on why you feel it's a good idea to wear it, and send that to dailygunshow@gmail.com, and just put in the subject line SASH, and then put in there, "Don't use my name," just to verify that we won't do that, and we can just read that on air as far as one person's perspective on that has one and why they feel it's a good idea.
That's awesome.
Because we can play, devil's advocate, but nobody can actually play the role of somebody who believes it's a good idea unless we actually believe it's a good idea.
No, sure. And I'm sure that we've just created an environment where they don't want to speak out necessarily because none of us are in favor of the thing. I'm speaking for all of us, but I don't think any of us are in favor. I suspect the audience isn't either. So that's awesome, Dan. I really like that because that is a way that we can give you some anonymity. And yeah, we would definitely be interested in someone who really thinks it's a great idea because me and Smeggy are just winging it as far as devil's advocate.
Right. I do want to say, though, as far as the emergency services thing, I was not aware of that, but that makes total sense. Let's say you're a paramedic or something, and you come up on a car crash, you toss that thing on, not so much so like if the cops show up, they don't think you're doing something wrong or whatever, but just people will see that and be like, "Oh, this guy can help me. He's got the EMS thing on. Like, hey, come over here. I found a hurt person. Like, you can help." So I think that's, from that point of view, that actually makes pretty darn good sense because you're advertising to the world, "I'm here to help you people. Like, what can I do to help?"
Exactly. And potentially
medical stuff and like I said, car accident, the stuff that is way, 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 way more likely to happen than some type of active shooter. You are way more likely to see an accident where someone needs medical attention than you are to be involved in like a mall or something.
And you're probably not wearing reflective jogging clothes or something. So that gives a reflective way. So if it's dusk and you're on the street, it's also saying, "Hey, don't hit me. I'm trying to do something here on the ground. I'm not just a lump of trash or something."
Okay. Anything else on this topic for now?
What about if they wore a windbreaker that said CCW?
That sounds like a good idea.
That's right. It's time. It's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. So those of you on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, limber up your fingers, put your cursor down in the text box, and get your brains ready to go. Smeggy, are you available to help me out today?
I am. I'm just asking real quick in the side chat. Is that the answer?
Oh, let me
just type it in the side chat.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure because it's in a different spot than the answer normally is, but I'm good. All right. Yep.
Okay.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right. I'm going to read the question twice. And the question is, what caliber pistol did Hitler use to kill himself? What caliber pistol did Hitler use to kill himself?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We'll also
I like
accept
that you
the
said that.
caliber that the Illuminati planted on him.
25 ACP, 9mm.
Nope.
Millimeter,
Nope.
45, 32,
You guys are all wrong so far.
32. Nope. 9mm Kurtz. Nope.
There we go.
7.65.
That's what it says.
Did we get a winner?
Got an answer.
7.65, because that's not what you wrote there.
Oh, I know, but that's what was in the show notes, though.
Okay.
You just wrote it wrong.
No, I typed it in the side chat wrong, but in the show notes, that's the answer. Chris over on on Gun Channel side.
Yes. So congratulations, Chris. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner. You know what to do, but as a reminder for all the rest, head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form so we can keep track of winners. And congratulations, Chris.
Yeah, and we may have to pull the Bob Buttercup rule on this one, but whatever. I don't care. So by getting the answer that Dano was looking for, Chris, that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Yes, and 765 was the answer I was looking for. Submit all questions to the USSR and see if you can get a response.
Maybe they'll even send you a picture.
You could tweet
Yeah,
Trump and he could ask him.
that's right. I bet you he knows. He's got a sash.
I'll bet you he's already seen the aliens in Area 52, too.
Oh, they keep them next to Area 51. That's tricky because everyone knows about that one. Area 52 is the secret one.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Huh?
Nice. All right, so I think we're moving along. That was just the first segment of the show. So now
We're
going to
moving somewhere.
the second segment. Worst gauge you ever wasted money on. So, question: are we going to be true to this question and talk about gauge, or are we calling it all calibers? But before we do, I guess we might as well break, because we always take a break between the first and second segment of the show to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community. It's focused on firearms. Lots of stuff to do over there, completely driven by its members. So for that reason, we take a minute here to feature one of the members every day. However, I didn't have any time to do any kind of show notes this week, so we don't have anybody in there today. Who do we want to pick? Do it as a committee. That always works. Bob, pick somebody. Bob's on the spot. And he's muted.
Alrighty, I have somebody I'd like to volunteer, and that is Smeggy, who is here on the board. Since
Right
Bob,
on.
you're too late, so sit back down.
Bob was
All
probably-
right. I was going to say
Nominate
Smeggy.
Smeggy because he is here regularly and often. He's also here when it's not necessarily convenient, and he goes the extra mile to show up. And I appreciate that as a host and as well as a member of Gun Channels. He participates regularly and often, both in the chats as well as hosting some lobby chats as well. So thanks for being there for us.
Yeah, very much. I didn't know Smeggy when we built the place, but you are exactly the kind of person we built it for. So thanks for being you and doing that here.
Oh, no problem, guys. You are very welcome. I am always willing to grace all of you with my presence and my awesomeness and
Good,
my
Smeggy.
humbleness.
Good boy.
Thanks
Good boy, Smeggy.
Thanks for spreading that around.
Oh, I spread all sorts of stuff around.
That's for true.
All right. So since Meggy's the member of the day, you get to pick. Are we going to say just gauge, or are we going to go with all caliber?
I'm going to say all caliber because, yeah, gauge is too specific. If that's even, is that even what that means? I thought it was like wasting your money on a gauge, like a no-go gauge or something.
Oh, because the gauge is spelled like that?
Yeah, I thought it was like a chamber go, no go.
But
I really don't think somebody specifically asked us for the first no-go gauge that you bought, because I think they would have put no.
Well, know the guy that puts these things together, and God knows what he does.
Well, that has happened, that's for sure. That guy's sloppy. So we're gonna go with all calibers. So what's the worst caliber you ever wasted money on? Let's just go through, or do we want to each tell our stories?
I think we have time to tell our stories.
Bob, you're up.
This is tough because I don't really have one that I feel like I've wasted any money on. Geez, it's tough. I guess 410 shotgun.
Really?
So I actually stick with the gauge 410. Yeah. They're just such a
And
wimpy.
the story behind that is?
They're just a very wimpy caliber. I had a single shot 410 and I tried to duck hunt with it. It sucked.
What the heck were you doing that for, you dummy?
To challenge myself. It was a real challenge.
Duck wounding.
Well, I wasn't even, didn't hit shit. But yeah, that was, I guess, the only one I've really ever wasted. And yeah, I just, why not just have a 12 gauge? The recoil's not that bad on 12 gauge, so.
Well, and even a 20 gauge, I mean, that the recoil's really not bad at all on a 20 gauge. And at least that would be able to get a bird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The thing was that everybody always said, 410's a challenge. 410's a challenge. It's too much of a challenge, thank you. At least if you're shooting ducks.
Yeah, so is a rock, but if all you're doing is injuring them, I don't think of that kind of stuff as being a challenge. I think of that kind of stuff as being inhumane. It's ridiculous. It's like, I could deer hunting with a 22 long rifle is a challenge. No, it's just freaking super irresponsible. And yeah, there might be some people who can do it, but there's going to be a lot more where these deer are now running around injured for no good reason because you're not even getting anything out of it.
Well, that
kind of stuff makes me mad.
They just use a big flashlight and then you walk right up to them and just pop them in the ear. That's why they use 22s at night.
So I'm going to take, since we're getting all kinds of responses from the YouTube side, I'm going to cut between each of us and tell one of their stories. So Steadily saying he once paid $24 for 20 rounds of 7.62 by 54R.
Wow, that's definitely $1 a round. That's pretty up there.
That's definitely expensive. Maybe that was like you got ammo at home and needed to buy something, or just thought it was something present or something. I don't know what the story is, but that's definitely a waste of money, right?
But I can understand it. If you got to the range and you literally forgot your ammo at home, but better at least shoot 20 than shoot nothing. But
or if it was like during the panic or something, he was worried that he wasn't going to find it on the shelves ever again. I don't know. I'm just
it was still that's a bad one. Buck around for 5.4 rimmed.
But the caliber that I wasted money on was clearly 380. And in fact, I even bought a gun to go along with it, and then ended up regretting both the caliber and the gun. And
did you buy the ammo first?
I'm trying to think. Probably bought them at the same time, generally speaking.
Okay.
But it just wasn't. I thought it had enough to get the job done that I was looking for, that I would be confident in, and I just couldn't have enough confidence in it to get the job done. And so I ended up selling the gun as well as selling all the ammunition, and was glad to be rid of it.
So do you know how much you lost money-wise on the deal, or did you?
Oh, I probably lost $75 on the gun, and probably about I only bought a couple hundred rounds of 380, so I didn't lose all that much in dollars in ammunition. Probably just maybe $20-$30.
Right on. I'd call that a financial loss for sure. I'd call that a financial loss for sure, but at least you got experience with the 380, so you gained.
Yes. Yeah, it was not a total loss. In fact, I was going to mention that because I learned what it was capable of and what it was not capable of. So, and lesson learned is worth something.
And you also learned that you could have just trusted your fellow Gun Channels members' advice, but that's okay. Some people need to learn firsthand, and now you know you
Well,
can.
in fact, there are several. I know of several Gun Channels members that do carry 380 right now.
I guess
mean,
I
right
kind of
this
meant
second-
specifically on that gun, but that's okay.
We'll spend your money for you. I'm going to go back to the YouTube side. William Hendricks is saying, not really a bad caliber, but bought a handy rifle in 2506 simply because it was the only one he found. And then a couple of months later, he had one in 308, or the same store had one in 308. That happens with bolt actions, right?
Well, handy rifle's a top break, but
Oh.
right. Yeah. Single shot.
Well, I guess I should say that happens with rifles that are in multiple calibers because undoubtedly the store has the wrong, not the ideal caliber you want. And if it's one of those guns that you don't see every day on the shelves, so like 3 or 4 calibers of them,
Mm-hmm.
Murphy will definitely deliver the one you wanted to the store just as soon as you're done filling out the 4473.
Yep.
All right, that brings us to Smeggy.
All right. I don't know. I'm going to kind of agree with Bob a little bit as far as I don't necessarily have any that I feel like I super wasted, but I guess if you want to say stuff that I probably didn't really need was the 17 HMR. I mean, it's a neat little round, but I don't know. I don't really use it for much other than plinking at the range, and I probably could have done that with just 22 long rifle or something, but I do like it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was like a huge mistake or anything, but if there was like one gun in my collection that I wouldn't cry if I went back in time and ended up not buying the thing, it'd probably be that one. It's just, But again, I do like it and all that. So I wouldn't necessarily say a waste. It's just, I probably don't really need it. But I have it anyways because it's America and I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to flip over to the gun channel side, and we're going to pick on Flippy because he was talking shit about 7.62 by 39, but he does bring up a point that he eventually went to 5.4, or 5.45, and I guess that could be a thing. If you're getting into AKs, not being an AK person, and you delve into one, then it turns out you like the other one, you can definitely sink some money real quick and then realize you want the other caliber. I think it usually goes, well, I guess it can go both ways for people.
Well, I'm just kind of curious on that caliber specifically. Are there manufacturers that are currently making that, or is that just simply Milsurp or
What?
in 5.45?
Well, you can get it in commercial. You can get everything in commercial, especially now. There's less and less Cold War stuff around. There's less and less military stuff, especially when they put restrictions on importation.
That 7.65 that killed Hitler?
What about it?
Never mind. I was making a joke.
So I'm in probably a different league than a lot of people. So I waste money all the time on guns. I can't even think about it. It's taken me a while. I own guns that I don't even own bullets for, or calibers that I don't even own bullets for. So I'm going to go with the first one that I can remember and the one that stands out. I went to the store, or I don't remember where I even got it. At one point, I thought I was buying boxes of 12 gauge, and I ended up with a box of 20. I didn't own a 20 gauge, so that made me buy a 20 gauge shotgun. So inadvertently buying the wrong box of ammo cost me like $75. So I had to buy a shotgun for it.
That's pretty funny.
And you regret that 20 gauge? You say that's
No, let's make
the
this
worst
clear.
gauge that you decided to get?
No. We're not. Let's make this clear. We're not saying any gun are better than worse than the others. We're talking about our individual histories of what we've lost money on, or what we've wasted money in our impression. So it has nothing to do with my opinion of the gauge or the caliber or anything. It's just I didn't intend to buy it, and I definitely didn't intend to buy a 20 gauge shotgun. But I'm not going to go return a box of ammo. That's ridiculous. So I was forced to buy another shotgun. Yeah.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, at least that's not, I don't know, that's not too horrible. I know of someone, and I'll just tell it from my point of view, and then I'll explain the stuff after. But basically, he's a reloader. I gave him 5 rounds of 30-30 brass, and his exact words were, "Well, I guess I got to go buy a 30-30 now."
See, so you're wasting that guy's money now.
Well, no, but so the backstory is he actually wanted a 30-30 for a long time, and he had hundreds of rounds of brass for it already. But just when I gave him those 5, it like sparked in his memory of, oh yeah, I was going to start reloading 30-30 and buy a gun for it. But I just thought it was kind of funny. From my point of view, I literally thought he was going to go buy a gun because I gave him 5 pieces of brass worth, what, 50 cents or something.
It's like, oh yeah, I gotta
Save
get one.
50 cents, go buy a whole new gun.
We do have one more coming in from Vroom over on the YouTube side. The 380 was probably his biggest waste because he bought a Walther PK 380 and it was almost as big as the Glock 23 he ended up replacing it with. So in an attempt to go to a smaller gun, I imagine with a smaller caliber, ended up with a gun almost the same size as, a 9, right?
Yep.
Gosh darn it. There was another one on Gun Channels I wanted to mention, and I can't scroll up now. Oh, that was the one. So this is again kind of going back to what you were saying as far as it's more personal than just the caliber itself. But the Pants was saying he got a 30-06. He doesn't hunt deer, and he doesn't have a range that he can shoot long distance with. So for him, it's like, yeah, it's not really worth it. I just thought that was an interesting personal thing, So again, it's not that 30-06 sucks because it's it's a good round. Just for him personally, he doesn't really use it.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's got it if he ever gets a chance to go deer hunting. Or hunt for anything in North America, really.
Right. Yeah, that's why I like it, because I use it for deer hunting, which it's probably a little big for whitetail. You don't need that much. But if I ever get the opportunity to go somewhere and do like an elk hunt or something, I'm already covered. I already know the weapon. And now I just have to find some place where I can shoot more long distance. So I can only go out a couple hundred yards up north.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the kind of in the same boat. I'm not using it to its full potential yet, but I have plans to.
So Enrique has an interesting one on the Gun Channel side. I don't know if y'all are going to have the same experience, but he said a friend bought a Taurus 357 Magnum, went to the store to buy a 38 and bought 38 Super instead, and then got a round stuck in the cylinder. I don't know if that means it broke or what, but I'm not sure how you get it stuck. But anyway, 38 Super is super prevalent out here. It's a round they can take back to Mexico. So we're right, really close to the border. A lot of people in Mexico come up here to shop in the U.S. So they'll buy their ammo and stuff and go back. So most of the stores stock it, where I suspect you don't see 38 Super as much up north. And that's
I don't
annoying.
think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it's
up
one of
north.
People come down here all the time, or I'm assuming they come down, they're new to the area and they're like, oh, I need some 38. And especially if it's the kind of store where the ammo's out on the shelf and you bring it to the register kind of thing, they'll bring up, undoubtedly somebody will bring up 38 Super at some point during a day or two, and had meant to brought up 38 regular 38 special. So a lot of times the clerks, the store people down here will, unless they know the person is a 38 Super shooter, they'll clarify for them. Hey, you are buying auto, you know that, right?
And that's what exactly is the difference between super and special?
Auto and rimmed. So it's 38 auto is like for a semi-auto, and rimmed is for revolvers.
Okay, so it's the back part of it.
Doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's
a rim.
like a long skinny 45 or like a long 9, I guess, and not with the rim like a 38 is. It really looks a lot like 9. No, it looks like a little long 9, basically.
Dangerous.
That's why you don't want to shoot 9mm. You don't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
No, the worst one is freaking if you have someone who reloads for what's that 9mm? It's a little bit shorter, and they just take regular 9mm brass and cut it down like that extra millimeter, because then the head stamps. No, not 380. The
Mac, the middle.
Makarov, yeah. That one's annoying. I shot with someone who did that, and we were picking up brass, and I said, you know what? You can just have all the brass. I'll let you figure it out. You can have all my 9. I don't care.
It's all head stamp 9, except it's a millimeter shorter. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for that.
So you have to like set it all up on the table and be like, okay, those ones are the short ones. Those are the ones that are already cut down.
I thought that was a pretty interesting topic, actually. But
yeah, that did work out good. I was confused at the question at first, but that worked out good.
So let's see. Why don't we move into? Do we have a gun of the day, Bob?
It's going to say, do we want to do gun shop so I can read the email while you show off the website?
Yeah.
Let's all talk at the same time again, Bob.
Yeah, I strategically had Bob do that because I'm looking for something on my screen.
Everybody do the gun shop.
Okay, so what's the gun shop, Daniel?
Yeah, just do the thing without the screen share then, because I'm looking for something here.
Yeah, I have the link in the show notes.
I'll do it. You start talking, Daniel.
Okay. It's called Terry's Barbershop. It's located in Wiley, Texas. Always a good conversation. Half the time he has a new gun in there to show me. For a while, I would bring him ammo in lieu of cash. Anyway, not a gun shop, but definitely a pro gun shop. Terry's a veteran, a great American, a gun enthusiast, a great barber, and a good friend. I'm pretty sure he would get a kick out of hearing you guys talk about his shop on the show one day. Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work. And that was from Mr. Wright. And again, that is on Terry's Barbershop.
Terry's Barbershop in Wiley, Texas.
Wow, I wonder if that's named after the coyote.
Which also has clearly a little FFL on the side that he's running.
Now, is there a town next to it called Roadrunner?
So there you go.
I do not know.
Inside of the shop, outside of the shop. I don't know that he necessarily has an FFL. It sounds like he just takes ammo for trade from his regulars. And he's just an interesting gun person.
Yeah.
And Vic is still here, so, you know, that's good to know. It's by appointment only, but Vic is still here.
I wonder who's the shadow of that guy in the picture. The Shadow Man.
So that's definitely, you know, that's if I can bring back a topic we talked about a few weeks back, talk about what.
But he does run an FFL out of the barber shop.
Oh, he did say that.
In his
okay.
message, he says half the time he has a new gun in there to show him.
But again, is that just he's showing off with his friends, or that he's actually selling the things? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe you can buy a gun from him.
What he sent me.
I know when I heard what you read, it sounded more like he's a barber who happens to like guns and is friends with Mr. Wright. So he shows him off his new guns and he accepts ammo as a trade. But I could be mistaken. I don't know. Anyways, what I was trying to bring up, though, is that a topic we talked about a while back, what to do with your used gun magazines, you know, the reading type. That sounds like a perfect barbershop to drop off some of your old gun magazines at.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously he probably wouldn't throw it away if he's a gun dude.
Yeah, in fact, if you bring in enough, you may get half off a haircut.
Well, he probably brings his own gun magazines, though, to the shop. So, if he's a gun guy.
Yeah, but if you have ones that he doesn't have or something, you know, that's what's kind of cool. You know, I'm sorry to hijack the gun shop of the day as a topic about magazines. Maybe we can talk about this in the future, but that's something you can do with your buddies. Instead of both of you buying 2 subscriptions, you each buy one, and then when you're done reading it, you let the other guy read it, and you trade. I just thought of that. I'm going to call my buddy up and say, hey, you should get a subscription to something I want to read.
Slowly but surely, because of Smeggy, less and less gun magazines are printed because they.
Well, that might be the case, but I apologize for that. Then I guess just trying to save a few bucks. And also on that note, I had an NRA magazine that I left in the hotel room with me this past trip because they had a bunch of little magazines like, oh, sightseeing things or whatever. And they were all lined up on the table. So I snuck it in there between two of them and just like the top part sticking out. So I'm hoping the maid won't throw it out. And maybe the next person who stays there will be like, oh, NRA, I like guns.
Yep. I also just want to throw out there, over on Gun Channels, we run a 24-hour gun show. And if you have something to sell, or if you're interested in buying something, I put a link in the Gun Channel section. I'll put a link also over on the YouTube section if you want to become a member and check that out. I don't know if it's open to the public or not. But there's a number of different things. There's some firearms there. There's some 22-round Glock 40 caliber magazines over there, plus a number of other things. Some bayonets. So if you're interested in a little bit of this or a little bit of that, worth checking out. It's gunchannels.com/24-hour gun show. And again, I'll drop that off over on the YouTube side as well. Hopefully you can see that.
Yeah, the link showed up.
All right, Dano.
All right.
Point where
Mr. G gets back. Where do we want to go?
We're talking about the gun of the day.
Let's do it.
Oh, yes.
Well, the gun of the day is the German Sport Guns Schmeiser STG-44. Now, this is basically a copy 22 caliber the 44, the STG, the first, German assault rifle. And it's quite a nice gun. I mean, they see this company seems to do some really decent work. I've had a drum magazine that they produced for a Ruger 1022 that worked fine. And yeah, I'm quite impressed with this gun. I'm actually kind of tempted to buy one. They're a little pricey, but they're really cool. They're 22 rim fire, so you can have lots of fun with it for cheap. And yet they do actually have the feel and the look of the original German assault rifle. So yeah, kind of a cool little gun.
Well, here's why we're never going to have GSG as a sponsor. Why would you want a Nazi gun in 22?
Because it looks cool. And it feels right. It's
doesn't
just one of those guns that
the goofiest gun ever. It's obviously the first of them. Like you said, it's the Nazis that called it an assault rifle in the first place. And how could it even be good if it's literally the first one out of the box or the gate? I mean, it would have to be anyway, it's super not all that good. Anyway, we just
better than anything else that anybody had at the time.
I'll disagree with that all day, but I've seen them. They're well made. I'll agree with you there. What bugs me is they're like playing. You remember that Crossman 1911 that you pull back on this kind of like the slide, and then you have the little tip thing by the front sight. Everybody's seen kind of look like 1911.
Yeah.
This gun is to a real STG-44 as that gun is to a real 1911. So it kind of looks like one from 6 feet away, but it's not. It's a BB gun.
It's not a BB gun. It's a 22 rimfire.
BB gun made by a BB gun company. They just happen to make it into a caliber. But anyway, I'm not a big fan of this one. I don't understand why somebody would want a Nazi gun anyway. But that's
come on, Nazis make good guns. They were used by bad people. That's all.
Maggie, anything about it?
Don't blame the tool, right? It's the bad person using it. It's not the tool. Can't blame a gun.
I'm gonna go see what the audience is again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all right. I guess it doesn't do much for me. If I was gonna get something like that, I would want like an actual one, so at least it has some history on it. Because unlike G, I'm not necessarily saying that, all guns that are used by the bad guys are also bad guns.
They're too expensive, though. The originals.
Well, give you that.
Yeah,
it's a $20,000 gun that there's probably 4 or something, right? So it's an obtainable version of a thing that's unobtainable. It's not like a Mac or something.
I'd rather just save my pennies and get one that's obtainable.
Well, but I mean, like they make Uzis and they make those MP5s. Like that's a gun that if you wanted to spend the money, you could. It's a couple of grand or whatever to buy a real MP5, but you could buy their 22 version and be satisfied, I guess. You know, or just like I say, save up for the real one. You ain't gonna save about 20 grand and then try to buy a. I mean, I guess some people might. But.
Oh, you watch me, sir.
Challenge to Smeggy.
I'm having SpaghettiOs for dinner tonight. You know how much money I'm saving right now?
So did you see, Bob, did you see the STG 44s in Tulsa?
Yes.
It was, I think 3 different people had them there. So there's more than 4 in the country, but I think 3 different, one guy had 2, and then I think I might have seen 2 others. If Foose was out there, he could probably tell us, or is Mr. Wright that went there? They might be able to give more input on that.
Yeah, they were, yeah. It's the kind of gun that you want to fondle, but you're scared to almost touch it, you know?
Yeah, because how many Americans did it kill? Exactly. You wouldn't want to touch a piece of shit like that.
Well, it might have killed a bunch of Russians, which is a good thing. We don't like the Russians anymore.
Anyway. Anything else to say about this gun? This is a gun of the day. We try to come up with a gun of the day every day. We're obviously not always going to agree on it, but usually Bob does a really good job of getting the gun of the day.
That's debatable, but it always makes for fun conversation.
That's true.
So we're going to go into our third segment today, which is training, right? I don't want to flip over to it because that'll tell everybody our secrets. Let me move over here. Yeah, training. So our training topic today is Mike Pannone. Mike Pannone is the head of CTT Solutions. Excellent guy. I had the honor of auditing one of his classes one time. It means I went there to promote it. I was asked to, when I was big on YouTube still, I was asked to, or I wasn't asked. It's not like they thought I was so good that they asked me to be there. I was in a situation where I was able to go and help promote the CTT, doing some classes. I've had the pleasure of going to a lot of different training classes with different instructors, and Mike was unique amongst them. So I will say Masada Ayub, Jaeger, are the 2 that I usually recommend. I'm not going to necessarily say Mike's your first class to take because it's pretty good. You'd probably want to take some other classes first and not be at the beginner level, but he can do beginner level, definitely. So I want to talk a little bit. I won't do it justice because he's definitely a good guy. He's former Marine reconnaissance, which isn't an easy job. Then he was a Green Beret. It's definitely not an easy job. The only thing you can get higher than a Green Beret is to get a purple beret or whatever it is and go to Delta. So he was also in Delta. In addition, he's a master class, whatever these things are, and whatever USPSA that is. And he's done all kinds of stuff around. He did get an injury and had to leave Delta and became an independent contractor. He worked for a bunch of places and VTAC as one of the senior instructors. He started his own company in 2008. He was also, I think I missed, he worked with air marshals. Here we go. He's certified firearms instructor, federal air marshal instructor. He did some time training air marshals. He trains vetted citizens, so you're not going to get into his class without a background check, but it's worth it if you can attain it. Excellent. Like I say, I wish I could do justice. I've only experienced it once, and he's got a knowledge, an intimate knowledge of so much of it under real world conditions and he's unique, at least as far as my experience. He's unique in his ability to explain and illustrate, to do it and to get some of the points across. And I always fail at trying to relate what I learned in that class, but definitely I can't recommend enough if you have an opportunity to train with Mike, to do so. But there's more to him than just the training part. I don't know which order to go. I'm going to go back over to Soldier Systems, which is a great blog. If you're not following Soldier Systems, I recommend it. Just went over to Soldier System and searched for Mike Pannone, and you're going to get some information about their perspective on the way that he trains. Just FYI, I don't know who's out there, but this is the same range that Heavy and Jimmy and Angry and I all shot at this last couple of days on Monday, I guess. This is that same range. But anyway, you can get some information here. I'll drop the link So people can check this out. And there's a couple of different articles here. He's worked for Surefire, I think, and he's been a consultant for quite a bit of the equipment that's come out. And again, there's people that have been there and done that. There's people that never returned, right? There's people that have been there and done that, and it was a job for them, and they had no interest in pursuing any of that when they got out. And then there's people that have been there and done that, and then do pursue training, right, and being an instructor. And then there's people that do all that and then excel at being an instructor. And Mike's definitely at that level. I don't know anyone who doesn't respect what he's doing out there. And one of his newest ventures is Guntrist, which I'll also link out there. And that's a unique opportunity for females. It's a Guntrist is a female training place, and they work with Mike to bring. Can you imagine bringing Delta Force, Green Beret, Marine Reconnaissance training to females in a female setting? So they don't need to suffer and get whatever's left over. They don't need to go with whoever will settle for training females. This is like top of the line training focused on females, and I think it's as far as I know, that's the only person who's doing something like that. And I think that's more than just a credit to, his interest in getting people trained up. So like I say, I'm probably doing a bad job of it, but if you're not familiar with the name Mike Pannone, I'm going to drop some links here, and I highly recommend you check him out. It's, we talk about Masada Yub a lot. Dano has been to Masada Yub classes and now tactical response. So we tend to focus on those because we have that in common. I suspect, though, once Dano is hard, now that he's hard, he'll end up going to a Pannone class at some point, and I suspect he'll have the same respect for the man as I do. So anyway, and we're not always going to feature trainers like this, and I wish, we could do it better justice, because he's definitely, there's more to him than what I'm explaining here. But again, we don't try to give you a complete idea what's going on as much as start conversations and give you a kernel of idea and some knowledge to go pursue. And I'll drop some links so anybody that's interested can do that.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds really cool.
For sure. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, we're living in a cool time. There's people that imagine how much money the government has spent on Mike. Just Mike being a Marine reconnaissance. That's, like I say, that's not a wimpy job in the Marines. Special Forces is an entire year of just training, and he didn't just stop with that. He did that work for a while, and then he went on to Delta, which they say we were talking about it with Heavy the other day, that when I was reading the book by about SEAL Team 6 and all that, SEAL Team 6, according to the thing, when they train, they shoot more ammo in a year than the Marine Corps. So those guys in SEAL Team 6 shoot more than the Marine Corps, and I suspect Delta's at that level, if not higher. I suppose that's debatable, but I don't know if there's any Navy people here to debate me. I believe Delta is the pinnacle of what we're got out there. So I suspect this guy's put more lead down range than all of us in our audience together have, got in our drawer, in our cabinets. But and he's approachable. He's a nice guy, and like I say, he's got an ability. I mean, being a Green Beret, you're an instructor, and you're there to teach the indigenous forces how to repel communism. So that's part of their job. They're tasked with instructing, but he's definitely a master at that, and he can get some stuff across. And it's one of those classes where you just see light bulbs, like, okay, and it's just a really fun type of, I guess, thing to experience.
Yeah, I think that could be by far the best compliment you can give a trainer, is they're good at explaining stuff and getting you to realize why they're saying it. Anyone can just say, this is what you do, and people go, okay, this is what I do, and they just try and remember it. But if you can get them to understand, why is this thing like more stable or better for this, that, or the other, it sticks a lot better when you've thought through the process yourself and not just memorized, put this foot forward or do this or do that.
That's a great way to say it. Exactly. Like, let you discover, it puts you in a situation where you discover the piece that you were supposed to learn.
It sounds like he definitely found his calling, though. That probably from being in the Green Beret and being taught how to be an instructor, he found that, wow, I can do this. This works really, and he was probably a better instructor than other Green Berets, right?
Well, that's the thing. You know, you get 100 of any people together, they're gonna be better and worse. People more interested and less interested. You know, this is the part I like, and this is the part I have to do. You know, it must be something you're saying.
Yeah. So he found his calling, really. That's cool.
And also, I forgot to mention he's published a few books, and one of them that I like a lot is the AK. What's it called? Something like the AK. I'll go find it. It's like the AK manual. So there's lots of AK manuals out there, but they're just reprints of the Russian stuff. Mike made it a little different. He put it in a spiral bound. It fits in your pocket, and it's everything you need, and not just a translation of the Russian. So it's like if the gun was a U.S. platform, what the military would have wrote for it, and it's in a form factor, rain paper, spiral bound, and it fits in your pocket. So unlike some of the other, well, at least Russian manuals, they're usually full-size books, or for some reason they make them bigger than the actual Russian manuals, like 8.5 by 11, and they just they don't lend themselves to being taken along with you. And Mike includes more than just what the Russians put in there for their troops or whatever. So, and then some other books, but that's the one that comes to mind that I own and I like. I'd definitely recommend it if you got an AK.
No, yeah, it sounds like a handy book to have in your range bag.
Yeah, exactly. Fits a perfect in range bag. All right. So with that, if you've got ideas for any of these subjects that we talk about, you can participate in the show by emailing us. Daniel mentioned the email before, dailygunshow@gmail.com. Also, on the second day of the month, we have a scheduling show where all of us, or maybe just me and Speggy, get together on a Saturday, second Saturday of the month, and on our old schedule, so 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and we basically plan out the next month's worth of shows. And any of our Patreons are welcome to join in, sit in on the actual chat, and then anybody's welcome to watch the show, of course, and offer suggestions. So if you've got ideas that you'd like us to hear us talk about, or you'd like to hear our audience talk about, because there is quite a bit of chatter on the live chats about the topics we talk about, then feel free to suggest them. We're completely driven by the requests of the audience. That's pretty much what we're doing, is trying to create a conversation. So not entertain you, but as much as just have a conversation with everybody every day. With that, why don't we talk about a movie? Every day we try to talk about a movie that is gun related, something you might not have seen in a while, so you can remember to watch it. Or if you're a youngin', maybe something you ain't seen yet. I think, well, I don't know, this might have actually been one Dano has seen, but this one's The Rock. Has everybody seen this one?
I've seen it.
Yep. Is that the one where they got guy used to be James Bond, and there's bad guys on Alcatraz that have missiles with chemical weapons on them or something?
Yeah, like green.
Yeah, little green discs that are poisonous or something.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
okay.
Run around then.
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
But it was one of those movies where Sean Connery's kind of in it, but he's not really. Like, they put his name in it, but he's like in it for 5 minutes, right? Or am I thinking of a different movie?
No, he was in it for quite a bit. I mean, he had to help the guy sneak into Alcatraz because he had escaped from Alcatraz or some bullshit like that.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different one. Okay, yeah, that's right. He's in it all the time. Is there somebody else that's like technically a co-star but barely in it at the end? Who's the bad guy?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember either. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I think it's sort of like I would call it. I'd put it in the middle there of just action movies. It wasn't. I don't think it was unique to where like I have to watch it when it's on or anything. But if it's that or almost anything lame, I'll watch it because it's not. It's pretty action packed and it's got Sean Connery in it.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up, or if I can, I'll give it 1.5. It's not like my favorite movie or anything, but it's. I mean, I would never discourage anybody from watching it. It's pretty cool. I think I'd give it 1 thumb up, but qualify it with it's a must watch. Like, you should have seen this if you're a gun guy.
Yeah, I'll give it. I don't know. Don't want to give it 2 thumbs up. I wasn't that crazy about it. No, I'm not. I'm going to give it 2 vertical thumbs. So sideways thumbs.
Oh, you mean horizontal?
Horizontal. Let's get those 2.
Canadian vertical, which is.
Well, see, the thing is Bob is laying on his side, so If he does it to the side, is that up or is it down or?
Gotcha.
I'm not on the
They're a little
floor.
bit
I don't know.
surface.
I don't know the conversion for flat on your back on the middle of the ground.
I'm not lying flat on my back today. What do you think I am? Stone guy?
What a Stone Guy chatter today. We should have featured Stone Guy. We should do a week of featuring people that probably might be dead because they're not on gun channels anymore. We don't.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
What's wrong with I am Debitaba?
Imtibaba or Imbitaba?
Imfutaba.
Uh-oh.
Infitaba?
I'm stealing that site if you dropped it. I'm stealing it.
Intifada? I thought they. No.
Internal error, blah blah blah. Database error has occurred.
I'm gonna look.
Oh, did you break something, Smeggy?
No, I'm just trying to see what guns were in the rock, but the thing's not working.
You don't just remember?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna see if I can buy that name real quick. How cool would it be if in the middle of the gun show I get to go buy? I'll hold it ransom. Let's make it really shitty.
Oh,
Have you not heard of the Internet Movie Firearms Database, Bob? Damn, he still owns it.
No.
Yes, you have.
really? Because I just typed it in and my computer auto-corrected it to just the regular Internet Movie Database. Like,
because your computer's anti-gun, dude.
Oh, you got a Hillary computer.
no, it's because they changed it to, it's .org or something, isn't it? Or it's like part of Wiki now.
So
I heard if you got Hillary porn, it'll actually put a virus on your computer.
Oh my God.
Brave said that he said Stone Guy 223, good guy with a gun, One Bad Marine, Quirk. So One Bad Marine's always on Facebook. He just loves Facebook and fishing now. Stone Guy, I think there's proof of Stone Guy from one of the Iraqi veteran shoots, but I don't think we heard it at all from Good Guy or Quirk. So
Yeah. It could be dead.
Well, I got the thing to work on my computer at least. Just going back to the rock. Bunch of Berettas. They're all just 92s, but different types or whatever. Smith & Wesson 4506, Colt government model, Mark IV. It's a Mac 10, MP5, HK94, another MP5.
Uh-oh. Raphael says, good movie despite the director. Who's the director of that movie?
Michael Bay.
Oh, I thought it was going to be some anti-gun guy or something.
No, just this was before we'll just put 20,000 explosions in and ignore the storyline. A LAR Grizzly Big Bore rifle. I don't know what that is, but okay. M14, M16, Mossberg 590, Remington 870, M60, and some rocket launchers and grenades and stuff. So pretty much your standard, just kind of your military type guns, right? Because the bad guys were like a mercenary or something, or were they actually from a military that like went rogue or something?
They were our military but went rogue.
Okay. Because
So
I know they got the weapons and then they were going to shoot it at the city or whatever.
They were going to hold it right. And then whether or not they were actually going to push the button, I think there was some internal well, we're ruining the movie. So Chesney, I think, brings up a good point, which is one of the reasons we want to do the movie of the day like this, because you never know what the audience is going to know about it. And he said it's great for the Bay Area. The movie studio spent a lot of money refurbishing Alcatraz. So, I mean, that's something, we hate Hollywood and stuff, but they do that. They got all that extra money they don't care about that's not there. So they do stuff like that just to make a movie. They spruced up Alcatraz. So I guess if they walk away and leave Alcatraz better, that's even another cool thing about the movie.
That's true. Yeah. Very true. All right. So that's our movie of the day. The Rock.
Oh, we didn't talk about it, but who was that idiot that said 9 million people die from guns every day? So Pants
93 million.
93 million, sorry. So Pants brings up a good point that we've only got like probably 2 days left before we're all dead from gun deaths.
Yeah, and I just typed this out, but I don't know. Yeah, it's funny to laugh. Aha, you messed up or whatever. but the dude just misspoke because I mean the stat is like 93, and he just added the million part. But I don't know.
But he repeated it.
It's just
3 or 4
politicians being dumb, but not like I've never misspoke or anything either, though, right? So I think if he really thought about it, he doesn't actually think that 93 million people die.
Well, obviously, but maybe he should shut up and not talk when he can't even get his thoughts together then, because he obviously had nothing good to say. He was just doing something for the spotlight because he could.
Right. Oh, I know. And it's just like it's someone else, I think Colion Noir called her out or whatever, but she said something about like assault pistol or something. It's like, dude, you don't even know what the heck the person used yet or whatever.
Hold on. Are you talking about the one that called it an assault rifle and she was in the Secret Service? And then she comes back later and goes, oh, I misspoke. Well, you don't get to misspoke when you're freaking the figurehead, or you're the news person or whatever. I mean, that's your job, is to be accurate. So especially if you've got Secret Service, how do you go through the Secret Service and not know how to identify a firearm?
Well, I think if I read the thing correctly, I thought she said assault pistol, and then she was like, oh no, I meant like assault rifle or whatever. But then the thing is, it's like he called her out or whatever. She's like, oh, yep, I'm super, like, I'm always good to be corrected. You're right, I messed up. And then she blocked him on Twitter, so he couldn't say anything to her ever again. Like,
the thing I saw on Instagram had a good point. I forget who it was that posted it, but they were replying to her that you've already done the damage. You've already reiterated bullshit, and no one's going to come. Who goes back and looks for corrections? You read a headline and you walk away. At least most people don't come back and verify every headline they've ever seen. But you can yell about idiots all day long, I suppose.
Right.
All right, so we try to feature a gun-related movie every day. I don't know how many we got here in the list. We're going to be talking about The Rundown tomorrow, and Lord of War on Monday, Air America, Dogs of War, and then Southern Comfort. And guess what? We don't have any other movies after that. So if you'd like to contribute, there might be some over in the email that we're not aware of. So if you already have sent one in, thanks. But if you haven't, I talked about a couple of strategies before. Grab some of the movies that you've seen or some of your favorite movies, or maybe even throw movies out there you don't like and see what everybody thinks about them. So anytime you want to participate like that, again, you can meet us up on Saturdays, second Saturday of the month, or anytime you can email us at dailygunshow@gmail.com. Speaking of that, we got a message on YouTube, and the guy's like, oh, I like your podcast. You guys are blah, blah, blah. Your podcast is so great. Can I get your email address so I can blah, blah, blah? I'm like, oh, our podcasts are so great. Like, how many times do we say our email address during the podcast? Like, come on, seriously? Like, have we ever done a podcast where we don't say the email address like 3 times? It's basically the only way we, it's the one thing we put out there. Put it out there more than our website.
Which is dailygunshow.com.
Correct, thanks.
Where the pop quiz winners can head over there /pop quiz, but then there's other stuff on there too. Past shows, bios about the hosts, all the fun stuff.
You know what? I feel like I've definitely been spending my times on distractions. There's been some interesting stuff happening. Not interesting, I guess I should say. I'm saying interesting when I mean bullshit happening with the Hearing Protection Act and the whatever that other one was. The
reciprocity.
No, they combined the ASA into something else called SAFE or Home.
Oh yeah, the sportsman outdoors.
Yeah,
something or other.
All that stuff went to the wayside because of the incident at the ballpark. And I heard something else about, or I don't know where I saw the link. Somebody put on the front page of Gun Channels, I think, about Congress trying to do national reciprocity for Congress people. So I don't know if that's just trolling, because I'm pretty sure Congress people can already carry anywhere they want. But because they're above the law, all the laws are written or say, except for military and police, and then they get to sneak into that somehow. And anyway, I think there is some stuff that we're probably not paying attention to, and it's not really the second. So maybe we should start doing like every 15th matters, kind of like we used to, so that we're not missing these things that happen in the middle of the month, and then something else can happen by the end of the month, and we've completely glossed over these things that have happened. I don't know.
Well, I find it funny if the congressperson thing goes through or whatever, it's like, oh, so you're important enough to protect yourself everywhere you go, but we aren't.
Or in addition, I guess I should say more importantly, but in addition, you acknowledge that the possession of a firearm in your hands is a benefit to society. You feel that you can have the firearm, but nobody else can. So now they're not just saying no one should have firearms, because now it's okay for some people to have firearms, as long as the line is moved to where they're included in it.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
All right, so we put a big line through that gun of the day, and what else we got here? Out.
We never did a hashtag yesterday because I was on the road.
Let's do that. So let me jump over to. You got time to do that?
Yeah, I got time to do that. Yeah,
I got time to do that.
We usually on Tuesdays, but now today we are going to be going over to the Instagrams, which is a social media platform that some people hate. I kind of like it, and seems like a lot of people are using it. And we go to hashtag, our name of our show, Daily Gun Show. And then we'll see a bunch of posts. Come on, really?
Yeah, you got to get the S in there.
So we got 459. Where were we at last time? I kept shoving it down, and I think I screwed the number over. So I'm going to go look at the old schedule, and it was 425. So we've got about 25 posts coming up. I guess I'll scroll down. I think we know that some of them might be in here, right? Is that what we were thinking? I know it is because I posted this one today.
Yeah,
So,
if it's popular and it's new, then it will show up there and not in the most recent. You just got to be careful not to have repeats, because there could be one from 5 weeks ago that just happens to still be popular.
So it's 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 25-ish. I don't remember that dog. So I don't remember if Moons was in there. Did we heart it? No. So it probably wasn't that one.
Because I think Pink's Knife was in it, and that's like 3 back from where you are.
Okay. Now I don't remember if we got this one. I guess we did. So let's start. Oh, no, we got this one too. So let's start. Okay, we got that one. So we'll start with this one. I can't stop listening to this after Smeggy talked about it. What's all this about, Smeggy?
That's the history of World War I. I've talked about it for the past couple of weeks. I'm freaking obsessed with it, but I keep listening to it at night, and then I fall asleep. But I wake up halfway through and like listen to it for another 20 minutes and fall asleep and wake up. So I'm re-listening to it, but also then I'm skipping ahead because I'm like, oh, I heard this part. So I'm almost done. I think I'm on the last episode now.
So what's the deal? It's like a bunch of different episodes, but they're all available, so you can kind of binge listen or whatever.
Yeah, he's got those ones on YouTube. He doesn't have a lot on YouTube. Most of his podcasts, Hardcore History, you have to get it from iTunes or whatever. But I think it's well worth the money because he does an awesome job. Just listen to the free ones, and if you like how he explains the stuff, I would recommend going and buying the actual podcast because he does a lot of work. Each of them are like 4 hours long. Most of them are multi-segment.
So I guess we know which one we're voting for. I don't know what's going on with this A. What unit is this A? I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
Autoloader.
Well, it looks like it's on a uniform. It looks like it's on a Nam era, Korean War era uniform. I just don't remember the A. But that's one of Moon's with his extendo. The dog body showing some parts, getting ready to assemble another AR-15. All right, well, we might have a winner. There's a little dog right there. No mag, though. No mag. Maybe doesn't trust that dog with a loaded gun. I like that dog. What is that? It's not. I thought it was a Boston at first, but it ain't. It's just like a bulldog.
Some kind of bulldog, Boston Terrier cross, maybe.
We got Jimmy with his fancy chromed revolver there. Big bore.
Ooh.
His membership to the Big Bore Club. You can see part of his spreadsheet back there that he uses for the format for the Early Watch Show. So, like, not just doing a long format open discussion.
Are there quiz questions on there?
There might be. But
Nice.
Another one from Chris, 1911. He's got that one at a weird angle, so I can't tell. Well, I guess the water is the horizontal. Oh, somebody sneaking this? Oh, that's B, reposting it. I liked it so much, I reposted it. This one's pretty cool. It's got the patch in there. I like that. It's got a bayonet in there. So he's obviously
I really like that one. I like how he just used make it look like a comic book drawing or whatever.
Yeah, I really do. This one's the kind of thing that I think could catch somebody's eye, even if they're like not into guns or whatever. Just it's kind of like art.
Mm-hmm.
Got another one. See, that's not very precarious at all. We can see that that's very stable. We're expecting more out of Chris at this point. But I was like, hey, he took his holster off and his gun and everything. Really, like, I'm afraid he's gonna get raped taking these pictures.
Maybe that's a backup or something, you know.
Just finished building a disposable target for the desert. Total cost, dirt cheap. So if this was scrap wood, okay. But I'm not a big fan. I've shot too many wood frames up. So I'm more into some kind of piece of metal sticking up. But it does look like a pretty solid one. And then the other issue is wind. But the only thing I think I'd add is a crossbeam down here. Okay.
Well, like you say, it's disposable, right? So that just means he's going to leave it out there, doesn't he?
Well, I hope he is going to leave fucking shit in the desert, but throw it away after, sure. But let's not doom him to have thrown shit in the desert. Oh, here we got early watch. So we talked about being at the range, and we talked about that range that Mike Canone was on. So we were in this bay. Literally, the next bay over is the Border Patrol range, and then literally the next bay over is where they took that picture of Mike shooting around the car. As Jimmy shoots some of the Liberty Defense ammo, I think, or LAX ammo.
Total gangster stuff. That's all I do.
Now, I'm curious how he got it to go black and white. That's kind of cool.
I thought maybe just the outside was black and white.
Oh, like we went back in time to shoot? That
Yeah.
would be awesome. Think how much more shooting time you could get in if you went back to the 50s? You could shoot all the time. Let's see. There's another one. That's looking pretty precarious. And he's way up on top of hills, so this thing could not just bounce off the rock, but then start bouncing down the hill. So now we're talking some real gun danger there. I guess he was okay because it's a Springfield. He didn't mind risking it. Oh, there we see. See, obviously he brought it back from the desert after being shot up, and it didn't destroy it. So pretty good. I guess if you're a good shot, you don't have to worry about that stuff. But it looks like they were shooting some shotgun, unless they had a lot of 22.
Yeah, there's a couple of holes in it.
There's the thing for our show. So we throw out there every once in a while. Feel free to share this anytime you want. Use the hashtag, of course. That's the whole point of doing the showdown. But anytime you want to help spread the word about the show, we really do appreciate it. We've talked about it in the Monday sessions when we talk about how to use the internet, how to master the different elements of the internet, all the cross linking and stuff that you can do. We appreciate it. It does help. We got Jimmy's. I think this is a patch panel. Got a bunch of patches there.
All pretty cool ones.
That one from Moon, showing off his new serrations. It's neat. He just takes his one Glock and sets it next to the other Glock that doesn't have any serrations. We got another one from Jimmy. Looks like he's debating which what do you call that thing? The shell? No.
Frame?
Is it the frame? So the frame, which frame to put in there? I don't know if you call that middle part the frame now. I think technically this has to be the frame because you have to have your serial number on the frame, right? But I don't know. Maybe it's called something else now. There's another one. I like this one. It's not necessarily precariously over an edge, but obviously it could fall right down into one of them chasms, be gone forever.
I like how that's only he has the requirement of like you have to be scary with your guns.
Well, because look what he keeps doing. He keeps upping his own game. So we can only encourage him to keep making it more and more risky. There's the OK Corral. We were down there yesterday, I guess. Was it yesterday? Yeah. So Jimmy was posting straight up from Tombstone. That tells you there's internet in Tombstone now. He was staring at this guy for a long time. It got kind of...
I think he's still out there, isn't he?
No, he eventually came back. Like, basically, here's what happened. We get to Tombstone. I start doing my thing, minding my business. Jimmy found this guy and just stared at him the whole day. And then Heavy ran around reading every sign in town. Like, anything that was written, Heavy was reading it.
Stop sign. Huh.
Hey,
is
that a slur about Marines?
No. Wasn't meant to be.
Okay. You can say, yeah, I'm not a Marine. So There's Auto Loader Moon getting reposted by whoever House of Guns is. Let's go see who this is. Did we look at these people before? 21,000 followers. House of Guns. Is this House of Guns like H.O. that guy who was in like up north somewhere?
Oh, because I thought House was spelled different for him.
It's like,
because isn't his last name like House or something?
Yeah, it's somebody else. Just anyway. So there's somebody reposting. Do we even give those people credit? We don't even know if they like gun channels.
The reposters know.
Well, Marco, he counts. Then we got Chris again. Oh, look, he's really up in the game. Not that precarious, but it's a lot more money set on the table. Or the rock, I guess. What do you think of that almost dissipator like full rifle forend?
That's all right.
Anyone?
I guess.
I could be down with that. I don't know about the stainless barrel, but I like the rest of it. And then, of course, can't deal with the mag pulls and grips, so it's not going to win my thing. But this one was Tony's. I think this was today. Here's his fidget spinner.
Yep, that works pretty good.
Then Angry grabbed a bunch of decals when Jimmy wasn't looking. Stuck one on his car. So I guess we could have Angry on sometime to talk about whether or not you should stick gun-related stuff on your car. What do we got here? Pink, some 22 pump action rifles from the.
I think we're in the favorites or whatever, or the popular ones now.
Way back at the NRA show, right? And then this is a quick pic of some of the gun shops we visited the other day. Bob, remember the gun shop in Sierra Vista that's the surplus store where I bought all those pants?
Yep.
So they moved. They're not in that location anymore. They're down the street across from the big one, and they got a much larger store. So these two top pictures are from that surplus store. So it's all one big room instead of being like two storefronts with that giant wall, kind of cutting it in half. So it's all one big room, and look how many more guns they got. They got a ton more rifles and just as many more revolvers and handguns. And then all their surplus is, going down the one side of the building. All the guns are on the other. Still just as friendly. Good people. Yeah, very cool shop.
Yeah, I'd like to get back there again.
Yeah, I guess we did. Oh, I'm gonna mention Hash though. Did we already get her? I guess we did. But we'll mention it again. All right. So who are we voting on?
I'm voting for the comic book artsy 4-panel thing with the AKs.
Yes, steadily deadly. I'm gonna vote for him too.
That same picture?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was the dog, of course, but you guys won. So we didn't even have to go to the audience today. Boom. You won.
I liked it. It was guns and it was artsy. So, hey.
And, yeah, just a reminder. Are we going to be reposting the winners on the Daily Gun Show Instagram thing? I think we should acknowledge that they won the hashtag showdown.
I understand that, and thinking that we should is a good idea, but I can only have 5 accounts on my phone, and I have 2 phones full, and I don't think I have Daily Gun Show in there, so I have to shuffle some. I'm trying to help AZCDL, so I think I took that slot to do the AZCDL one, but I don't do it very often, so maybe I'll flip it back. But man, I wish you could do it.
Smeggy could do it.
Oh, anybody's welcome, and you guys could all do it actually, because you can have 5 Instagrams on each phone, each unit, each device. I could get my head thing going. Huh? What'd you say, Bob?
I figured out how to make my own Instagram work.
Good. So basically, just go down to the bottom of Instagram, and there's the little icon down at the very bottom. They'll have your name or whatever. You just hold that down, and it'll pop up and say, "Do you want to add an account?" I think that's how you do it. Anyway, so I guess we've got a winner for the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown. Every Tuesday, typically, we will go through, and we're going to go up here and grab the number so that we don't forget right away. We've got 459 posts. We do appreciate this because, again, one of the ways that a show like ours gets more listeners, more people to be aware of us is from recommendations from the platforms themselves or people that are just surfing or browsing. And this is, having links out there, having hashtags like in this case out there is what lets that happen. So that's really the power of the internet. And Charlie. And hey, Charlie. And it gives you some practice ideally. So we want to get you out there taking Instagram pictures, because actually we're under attack right now, or at least we could be in about a minute here if they decide to go after this, right? So that's what, you know.
Oh, they're definitely ramping up the rhetoric. They're definitely preparing for an anti-gun fight.
So the more that we, are using this stuff, the more familiar we're going to be with it when we want to take over one of their hashtags when loading. Right? So anyway, we appreciate everybody that participates in that. Like I said, there's a little ulterior motive to it, but hopefully it's a healthy one and everybody enjoys it. If you hate Instagram, great. Just don't pay attention to that part of the show, I guess. All right, so Charlie was mad because I voted for that other dog, probably.
Yeah, but I think that's what it was. Yeah, he was complaining. He thinks he should be the Instagram star.
Oh, you know what's going on? I'm not even on the right tab. So now, I put it on the old tab. So let me go back and get what is going on? Where did I put it? That, and put it back on the correct tab for Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? No, we're doing the hashtag.
We moved it Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay, so there it is, though. All right, so now we're ready for next week. So we waste everybody's time now, so we don't waste your time next week. I think we're done. Oh, did Dano already talk about the 24-hour gun show over on Gun Channels? We've got a buy, sell, and trade. Well, I'm going to say it anyway. So we've got the place to buy, sell, and trade. It's called 24-hour Gun Show. You can access it anywhere on Gun Channels. There's a menu at the top. Go to Community, down to 24-hour Gun Show, and it's going to bring you to a place you can buy, sell, and trade. Dano's got some mags up there. People have been posting stuff. It's completely free if you're a member. I think Dano had a question if regular people could see it who ain't members. Yeah, they can see it. So it's going out there to everybody. And there's a little bit of everything. I'm trying to add stuff occasionally. Others are doing the so as well. And feel free to make some money on the stuff that's just sitting there, and go check out if you can get a good deal on something used that you don't have to buy it new to test out if you like it or something, right? So move stuff along, and that keeps everybody getting good at deals, and everybody getting a little bit extra money coming in for the next good deal they get. All right, with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. Tomorrow will be Friday. Our new Friday schedule is gun tech, gun biz, and alternative gun topics. I'm actually looking forward to Fridays. I really like those. So tomorrow it's Black Talons, how to get warranty work done, and what to do if they won't fix it. Should we get D.B. Cooper on as a guest tomorrow?
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
And then alternative gun topics, what commercial trauma kits would we recommend, or would folks recommend? So those are the topics for tomorrow, the movies, the rundown, and of course, all the normal stuff we do on a regular basis. You're always encouraged to participate in that with that email address we never mentioned, dailygunshow@gmail.com.
All right. I think that's wrapped everything, hasn't it? I believe it does.
Yep.
Well, we end our show on a quote. Today it's by Frederick Douglass. Before that, I just want to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe. So again, quote by
wait. What am I saying?
What?
No,
What?
Talk about the decks. I don't talk about the decks because it's already funded, and there was nothing really to talk about. I didn't want to bother everybody, but there is something to talk about now. Jimmy and Heavy and I went down to Tombstone yesterday, had all kinds of fun. So, remember the reaction we got from Gunfighter Museum guy?
Yeah.
So Bob has not heard any of these stories yet. What was that guy's reaction to the card decks?
Oh, he thought it was a good idea.
Right. Didn't he? Am I crazy? Or did he say something like, looking forward to it, or some shit, like bring them down, right? So first stop yesterday, was Triple T, because we ate breakfast. Then we stopped at that freaking Gunfighter Museum, and I go in there. I'm like, hey, remember I came in and looked at the decks? Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, here they are. Oh, yeah. Like that's basically what you said. I'm like, I was hoping I could maybe get, some of the guns out of the cabinets that I'm missing that I have bad pictures. Oh, no, there's no way I'm taking the guns out. Not interested at all. I was like, I was going to, put some kind of, thing on here like, courtesy of the Gunfighter Museum or whatever. I don't need any advertising. Like, I kind of know the internet. I'm like, I kind of know the internet, and your phone number ain't on the internet, dude. Like, I think I know how to look around on the internet. Your phone number right there. Like, and he's convinced he's like, doesn't need any advertising. So I'm like, all right, what the hell? I'm walking away. Anyway, the rest of the day was excellent. And anyway, I won't get in all details, but we got some pictures. I don't think you checked out the museum. Tucson Bob, right? Knows that museum down there?
No, I didn't. I never got a chance to check that out. No.
Well, because it's closed all the time. But basically, we got a friend that knows somebody that runs a museum down there. We got into the museum, and she was very nice. And we got a bunch of pictures, a couple of things like the Winchester 73 and 22 short. I know some people had speculated on if that was real, like if I should have included that. And I couldn't really point to any because I couldn't even find one online. She has one. I got pictures of it now. So that's pretty cool. Took a couple other pictures of other guns she had there. And then after that, we went down to Sierra Vista and talked to those gun shops and stuff. And then came back up to Tucson and met with Bob from Tucson Guns. And earlier in the week, I had sat down with him and he'd gone through the deck with me to help edit and determine which pictures needed to be replaced. And then which he had, guns either or knew where to get guns to take those pictures. So yesterday we arranged all that, and I got 3 or 4 pictures from Bob of his personal guns or guns from his shop. And then talked to Enrique after all that, after the show, and have some good stuff from him. Enrique's he's a professional computer guy, so getting all kinds of great ideas. And yesterday was a super good day for the project. I started editing a little bit. I kind of crashed after all the sun and heat and everything. I got back and I was like, oh, okay, Pink, I'll be back in the lobby in just a minute. And then I laid down, and the next thing I know, it's like 3 a.m. or something. So I got I did a bit of a lobby pretty much by myself. I think Moon was out there for a minute. Somebody else was out there. A couple of people were there, but not really. Anyway, in the middle of the night, I ended up editing some of them. I have quite a bit more editing to do, but yeah, very productive day on the project. Really good response from the people who have held the decks in their hands. So can't say thanks enough, because it was definitely a different a different conversation to say these are already funded to the point of $10,000. What do you think? As opposed to like, do you think these work? It was just so I was able to be so confident talking to these people that just a phenomenal day, and that's all 100% due to the people that are supporting the project. So thanks everybody for that. There's still a bunch of days left. I'm contacting as many people as I can to spread the word. So please continue to do that. Obviously, the more money we can make at this point, everybody's going to make more money. All that money staying in the United States. It's being printed in Texas. And if you know gun shops that might be interested, feel free to send them my email address, gunwebsites@gmail.com, or just point them to the Kickstarter. But we will be able to do wholesale cards for them so that they can be involved in a little bit of the money making. So again, thanks everyone for being able to get it to the point where the cards are at a point where all these gun shops are going to be able to make money. And yeah, it's just awesome. So it's really cool to be part of a project that's working. And again, that's 100% crowdfunding. It's everybody's effort. So thanks everybody for that.
Oh, that's right on, man.
So anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Now we can end the show.
Yeah, no worries. So anyway, by Frederick Douglass, and it's a pretty good one. Time is a great teacher, but unfortunately, it kills all its pupils, which is the truth. Time kills us all. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.